I'm taking you with me. I got a sudden impulse to go see the Mr. Rogers documentary. I'd frequently tell my students, when I was substitute teaching, I'd tell them, look, you guys, this stuff that they're teaching you, this stuff isn't really what matters. If you really want an education, study the behavior of plants, study the behavior of animals, and watch closely the behavior of children. I said, the best, most nutritious kind of programming that would suit you, I would say, is watching those Mr. Rogers reruns and Sesame Street reruns. Because they teach you all the essentials of what it means to be a good neighbor, a good human, good to others, and good to yourself. How can we be good to others? Those of us who are not good to ourselves. How can we be good to others? Imagine how much more powerful our message, the inspiration, would reach if we were good to ourselves first. Trusting our insight, trusting our intuition, trusting the revelations, epiphanies, etc., etc. I'm reading a great book now. I've got a few books that I have in the queue. There's the Bob Roth book about meditation, about transcendental meditation. There is Room to Dream, the biography/autobiography by David Lynch and Christine McKenna. Mike Nesmith, autobiography. Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. I just read a great one called Into the Magic Shop, which is all about basically manifesting your reality. Writing down, meditating, getting centered and in tune with what most highly vibrates. And harmonizes with your inner being. Great knowledge. And we have no choice, really, at that point. We can only distribute to the world and our chosen reality experience the information that we have in our filing cabinets, so to speak, in our reservoir of knowledge. It's great to come across authors who closely resemble a lot of the their ideas and their philosophies closely resemble a lot of the ideas that you might resonate at. How cool is that? Imagine if these authors had not decided to put out that information, had not chosen to share their insight. Think about J.K. Rowling. We always hear about that story. It's a perfect story of doing what you can with what you got. She was homeless, right? Wasn't she homeless? And then she would make these stories. She would make these stories for her kids. And then end up writing them down. And then that became Harry Potter. That became Harry Potter right there. So, had she not decided to put those stories down, no one would have had the opportunity to read them, to be inspired by them, to make movies about them. That's you. That's you. Those awesome success stories, that's you. How do we say the unhatched possibilities. Those examples represent your unhatched possibilities. All those that we might consider geniuses, they're people who are simply speaking their truth, honoring their truth, standing by it, sticking by it, unapologetic. Unapologetic. There was an article. I saved it. I think it's still on my screen. I was going to upload it to a couple of the. I was going to upload it to possibly Twitter or Facebook. There's a lot of good insight in there that basically says all this stuff that we learned too late in life. You know, the stuff that really would have helped out to learn early on when we were younger. And that's the thing. That's important right there. Learning all the things, knowing all the things that can save decades or even, whatever, of learning. And learning it now, taking those gold nuggets and applying them right now, wow. That's it right there. That's what it's all about. Think about Mr. Rogers, for instance. He created what he wanted to create. And next thing we know, what happens? Now we have a documentary about the guy, his legacy living on. Living on into the future, living on into the present. And what a great present it is. More later, folks. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. I just saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers documentary. Oh my God. I hope once that comes out on DVD, teachers everywhere will be showing that to the schools, to the kids. If you find yourself being one of those people going, why isn't there more kindness in the world? Why is everything screwed up? Why is the world falling apart? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. Words, 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 yada, yada, yada. All that jazz. All that jazz. You know it. You've said it. You've heard it. I've heard it. I've said it. This movie jumpstarts you back in action. this movie. This, it inspires you to be good again to people, to realize more of your impact on the world at large. That idea that in addition to the very people that we have in front of us that we're talking to, there are those who overhear what we're saying. There are those who hear the stories that those people we talk to talk about us. The Spirit lives on. The Spirit lives on. It's that idea of like being at the party before you get to the party, so to speak. I've heard so much about you. I've heard so much about you. We tend to want to share those times, those good times and the fun with people who, thank you. We tend to want to share the good vibes that we experience with others. We want to allow them to touch that magic, to experience that magic. And then we can share those times with those people. We can then talk with them about that. This is very similar to kind of something we were talking about earlier. Let's say you're real big into comic books. You love comic books. But you have no one around you to be able to talk with this about. You want to be around people that you can you want to be able to share your element of comics with. So you let's say you introduce a comic, your favorite comic to someone, and then they start reading it. Now you two can, now you've got a whole new inventory of inside jokes. You've got a whole new extra lexicon. You've got a whole new extra layer of reality now that that helps enhance the experience that you're already experiencing. It shows you an extra reality. Mr. Rogers ideally, you'll see the movie yourself. Mr. Rogers saw TV for the very first time. He's about to go into seminary. He saw TV for the very first time, and he said, I think I want to go into television. And then his parents go, you didn't even know what TV was until now. And he started seeing the ways in which the TV was affecting people. And the way that the media could spread messages. And all the cartoons and shows, everyone bopping each other on the head, shooting at each other, fighting each other. So then he started spreading a good message to the populace. Wow. It's not a dry eye. It's not a dry eye. It was great, too, to see the behind the scenes with the co-workers, the crewmates, everyone he worked with. It was great. Wow. It was great. Just create what you want to create, folks. Please, Kurt, stop telling me that. You tell me that every episode. I'm gonna shut this off if you keep telling me to be the best version of myself. I'm getting completely just sick and tired of hearing you tell me to be the best version of myself, to turn on my genius light. The genie is us. I've told this to the kids I would substitute teach. Let's break down the word genius. Genie plus us. We are the genie. You are the genie. You are the genie. You are the genie. And now is a perfect time. Once I get home, perfect time for me to eat something delicious. Most likely, brew up ozonated water, 20 minutes. My buddy Mike, he's now helping out with this place called LA Grip. They help with, they got new owners, they help out with movies, doing all the gaff work, doing all the electricity, all that jazz. And a lot of those guys who were working on Black Pumpkin came from, were workers for LA Grip. And so they said great stuff about Mike, about how he fixes stuff real quick, about how he used to be an engineer, he's great at inventing things, fixing things, anything. And so I went over there to, meet up with him, then we went out to lunch, and he ended up driving me up to the Viper Room show a couple nights ago. He and I were talking. He was telling me that his friend, for 2 full weeks, she has a huge ozonator device. For 2 or 3 whole weeks, they just kept brewing it. It was a coconut oil. They just kept brewing it up, and they kept it on a hot plate just to make sure it was still kind of, liquidy. Because at a certain temperature, coconut oil, it solidifies. So if you ozonate that coconut oil, it retains the ozonation. There are companies, there are places out there that will sell ozonated coconut oil in jars for very expensive prices. Well, these people, Mike and his friend, jeez, I swallow a bug. Man. So they brewed it up for like 2 or 3 weeks. Now they got these jars of this highly infused ozonated coconut oil. Take a little teaspoon of that. I would definitely say, if you're feeling down in the dumps, instead of taking another depression pill, just go out and see Mr. Rogers. The ego will subside, and it will be replaced with some of the best vibes that you really can't get anywhere else except through Mr. Rogers' wisdom. That's all for now. More later. I do not have the microphone for this one. I'm just out here. I'm out on the balcony. I'm concocting my email to Madeline Zima about being on the queztion radio show. We're going to see if she's available the 16th, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. By the way, the Inspirado Projecto Twitter, which if you'd like to follow us, that's Inspirado, Inspirado, Projec, Project, Inspirado Project. It just didn't have enough room for the rest of it. Also, if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, that's the full name. Instagram, and then you look for Inspirado Projecto. You can see what goes on behind the scenes with the Alley crew and just all kinds of fun stuff. If you're on there, let's be friends. I've been getting a big influx on Twitter from, I don't know what country this is, but a bunch of verified accounts. Verified accounts. So I'm following them back. There's no harm in that. So, getting a big influx of these followers. Quite interesting. If you're one of those folks, thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. By the way, I would just like to say that Man Behind the Machine has contributed 2 songs that just might possibly end up being used in the Black Pumpkin movie. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch. However, I would love for that to happen. It's not up to me. It's up to the producers, the authorities that be. So we shall see what happens. With that, I'm so grateful for the contributors, those who see some kind of and resonate with the value that's involved with this podcast and the ideals that are presented in it. If you like this podcast, it says a lot about you. It says more about you than it says about me now, doesn't it? It means you enjoy being a craftsperson. Means you love the imagination. Perhaps you more highly value your imagination over anything else. If any of you who listen to this are clairvoyant, I'm talking about clairaudio, clairvisual. What is voyant? Voyant. That's like voyage. Voyant. I'm a voyant. I'm very voyant. It's like buoyant. Being very buoyant. And A-N-T. What's that A-N-T suffix? What is that? What is that? Buoyant. So if any of you are psychics, you like to read tarot cards, and you're listening to this on Anchor, please contribute. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Overcast, your Android devices, I'm seeing more people coming in through Overcast. A lot more. 32 now at this point. Within a week it jumped from 5 to 32. I mean, it just goes to show you just never truly know the effect you have on a populace. It's not me, it's the information that's blowing through me. Blasting through me. I'm getting out of the way, I'm letting it come through. Mr. Rogers, all the way up until the day he died, he didn't think he was making an effect on the world. He didn't realize that. You know what? Folks like that who are not, they're more concerned about the message. He treated each kid special. as if they were the only one out there. So right now I'm concocting this email out here on the balcony. I don't know if you can hear the crickets. I love that. You might hear cars passing by. Well, that's, as far as I'm concerned, the sounds of the ocean. My friend Dory, she lives near a street where there's a lot of cars, a lot of traffic. And I said, well, from experience, what I do is I just pretend it's the ocean waves. I kind of redefine that in my brain as ocean waves. And she started doing the same thing, and she started noticing a noticeable change in her association with it, or definition of it. So here we are, Madeline Zima. Wouldn't that be awesome if the Zima, the drink, the alcoholic beverage, was named after her? I wonder if that's her family. I'll ask her about that. I'm sure everybody asks her that. It's a pleasure meeting you. Your spirit is glowing, and you are creating the art you want to see in the world. July 16th, Monday, 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when the next episode of Inspirado Projecto broadcasts from the queztion 1630 a.m. studios in Chinatown, Los Angeles. I gotta put you down for a second while I'll sit you up here. Los Angeles. Are you available this day? If not, we can easily meet somewhere, as the show has grown. The show has also grown into a podcast. I've got so many questions. No. If not, we can easily meet somewhere, as the show also has grown. Has also grown, also has grown, has also grown, has also grown into a podcast. I've become a mobile radio station. Here's a link to the queztion. Here's a link to where queztion streams live. And what I'll do is what we'll do. Here we go. queztionradio.org. If you want to hear it streaming live, this is for you guys, you all. queztionradio.org. Click on the big queztion sign. You'll see at the top it says live stream. Here, we're going to listen to a little bit right now, just so you can get an idea. Let's see if it's going. Check it out. Do you hear that? It's from the queztion archives from 6/17/2018. It's called Wizard Apprentice and Julius Smack. Here it comes. It's getting louder. See, you guys, the fun thing about this station is that anybody can play whatever they want at any time. You too, if you live in Los Angeles and you want to have your own station, go to queztionradio.org, click on the Queztion sign. It'll take you to the site. There's a little thing up there that says participate. I'd click on that, but I got the music playing back here. I love it. So you can click on participate. Here we go. Let's go to it. Participate. They got this little application form. You can volunteer. They got the application form. And how cool is that? It says here, Queztion Radio relies on member dues, events, community support, and contributions in order to survive. We are not for profit and have no financial or institutional backers. If you'd like to support Queztion, here are some ways to help. Join our staff, donate equipment, make a financial contribution. So basically, they're looking for turntable needles. Yes, they got turntables in there. You can play CDs in there. You can play tapes. Gosh, it's just brilliant. Just brilliant. It's so fun. If you've ever seen Pump Up the Volume and you've wanted to be on the radio and have your own show, this is Queztion Radio is the place to go, folks. Queztion is the place to go. Let's get back to that stream. So play that in the background while I work on my email here to Madeline. So I'm giving her a link. I'm doing one of those hyperlinks. I love the hyperlinks. Alright, here we go. Okay. Here's the link. The website where... Oh, yeah, okay. Here's a link to Periscope, where I also stream the show. Bam, bam, bam. Let's give a hyperlink in there. That goes for you guys too. Let's see. Let's see here. Periscope. Inspirado, Projecto. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's say you want to watch. Let's say you want to watch it live, and you're wondering what's going on here. I want to see it live. What is the score? I want to see it live. For crying out loud. I would say you can go to pscp.tv/Inspirado Project. That is, once again, pscp.tv/Inspirado Project. It's linked through It's linked through Twitter. It's linked through Twitter in some way, some way or another. Some folks like to simulcast it. My buddy Joe Magaha, he's so good. Every time we go live on Inspirado Projecto, he retweets it. Bam. All right. Take care, and I look forward to take care, and I look forward to unpacking your artistic brain. How about that? It's a pleasure meeting you. Your spirit is glowing and you're creating the art you want to see in the world. July 16th, Monday, 1 to 2 p.m. PST is when the next episode of Inspirado Projecto broadcasts from the queztion 1630 AM studios in Chinatown, Los Angeles. Here's a link to where queztion streams live. Bam. Here's a link to Periscope, where I also stream the visual version of the show. Are you available July 16th? If not, we can easily meet somewhere, as the show has also grown into a podcast. I've successfully become a mobile radio station. Take care, and I look forward to unpacking your artistic brain. Oh, also, here's... yeah, there we go. I'm going to provide her with a link to the iTunes. There we go. And give her the link to the iTunes. What? Hyperlink that, baby. Cronin. Okay. Here's my website where photos, info, and a link to that day's show are uploaded. Bam. Which is, by the way, if the at-home viewers, if you want to go on there, it's inspirado.wordpress.com. I can't upload all of my podcasts on there. However, good news, I can upload. I save a copy of the show on a thumb drive, and then I upload that to Mixcloud. There's a so basically, if you want to hear the Wizard of LA, version of queztion, you can go to mixcloud.com/Inspirado Projecto. It's available there. There we go. There we go. Bam. Bam. Sent off into the stratosphere. So in the meantime, what I'm doing here is I have not yet uploaded the Wizards show onto the website. So that is something I'm doing. Should you decide you want to hear it. And should Madeline decide she wants to hear it. Oh, by the way, I did some more research about the greeter that we were talking about in that last podcast. His name is they call him, this is his real, or was his real name, Eiler Larsen, EILERLARSEN. There's a statue of this guy. This guy has long hair, a beard. He looks like, well, heck, looks like I could play him in a young version of him. Young version of him. There's a statue. There he is. His red shirt. Yeah, there's a statue of him. Out there in Laguna Beach. Dory and I saw that guy, the statue at least. So it was interesting, that was one of those things. That's one of those things where you got that epiphany, you've got that question mark in your brain, and then years down the line, someone gives you that gold nugget, and they go, oh. Like you heard in the last episode. Oh, no, or is it this episode? No, last episode. Paul, the sound guy over there at Stillwater Spirits and Sounds in Dana Point, he was talking about the greeter. The Greeter. Which would be a great name for a band. He's talking about that guy. He'd greet everybody who came in. And it turns out, so I guess he would go, hello, how are you? He would say that a lot. This guy, let me give you a brief thing here. So, he's born in March 27th, 1890 in Denmark. And he died March 19th, 1975, aged 84. So he's out there at the Los Angeles National Cemetery. I might go out there and visit him. A Danish vagabond. You can do the research. His first name is Eiler. His last name is Larsen. Now, it turns out there's a song about this guy. Someone wrote a song about him. I downloaded this song. I'm going to I'll play it for you guys on this specific episode. Larson was intrigued to hear about the pageant of the Masters Festival in the artist community of Laguna Beach. He came in the summer of 1938 and was cast as Judas in the presentation of Da Vinci's The Last Supper. He returned to portray the same role the next 2 years, then moved permanently to Laguna in 1942. Let's see. He was a symbol of friendliness. It's interesting. This is what I noticed in the Mr. Rogers film. People were blaming Mr. Rogers. They're saying that, I hope you go to hell and stuff. This is... Same thing, similar to this guy. Some locals disapproved of Larson, saying he was a public nuisance, an annoyance, or too loud. They wrote letters to the city to have him stopped. Larson said, "They may think I'm crazy, but when a motorist comes to town, tired and weary of the traffic, and smiles when he leaves, does it matter what they think?" City council members dismissed the protests with bemusement because the majority of the town supported Larson. In a response to one well-publicized complaint in 1959, the mayor said Larson could be the unofficial town greeter so long as he did not interfere with traffic. On February 14th, 1964, after more than 20 years of Larson welcoming visitors, Mayor William D. Martin proclaimed Larson as Laguna's official greeter in a sidewalk ceremony that initiated the town's first winter festival. Let's see. I want to get the right name here. The people who made... They called him the Hans Christian Andersen. People who knew Larson compared his relationship with children to Hans Christian Andersen. I would say that's very similar to Mr. Rogers, huh? Devoted to what he described as, quote, "my mission of friendliness," Larson considered it his special duty. He said, "It's my spirit, it's a gift from God that few men have." So let me get the right thing here. So people basically gave him a free place to say. They fed him. Here we go. Around Christmas time in 1963, a 45 RPM record called The Greeter was released on OBO Records. Composed by local artist Paul Blaine Henry, the bossa nova song was sung by Rochelle Battat, B-A-T-T-A-T, and featured Eyler Larson shouting his catchphrases. So, I found that. Someone uploaded it to YouTube. I downloaded it, and guess what, folks? I'm going to give you that little treat. I'm going to give you that little treat right now. Now, as this podcast goes, it might be louder than what I'm saying right now. Just turn down the volume. If you're listening to headphones, turn down the volume so you don't blow out your eardrums. If you're listening to this in a car, which we just recently learned that you can access this podcast in cars now, turn up the volume. Here now, ladies and gentlemen, is The Greeter, featuring Eyler Larson.
Hey, you! How do you do? Mighty good to see you. Do you speak English?
On a corner in our town, there's a man who never frowns. He has hair of silver gray and a funny casual way. With his satchel in his hand, he leans out from where he stands. Then he roars and points his cane, and no greeting's quite the same. Hello there, how do you do? I'm mighty fine, and how are you? Glad to see you this fine day. Glad you passed Laguna Way.
You be the softball. Let us have a spine. Excellent.
The long-haired surfers grin. Every Everybody waves at him. Children laugh and parents too. At his boisterous howdy do. All the tourists stop and stare. Everybody seems to care. For the greeter shrieks and shouts, and the greetings he gives out. Hello there, how do you do? Mighty fine, and how are you? This is what you hear me say if you pass Laguna Way.
I did not see you again.
When I'm driving down the street, it's for sure I'm gonna meet the greeter man who stands so tall, roaring out to one and all, calling off the license plates, everyone that passes rates. Any day I'm feeling blue, I go down to listen to. Hello there, how do you do? Mighty fine, and how are you? Glad to see you this fine day. Glad you passed Laguna Way. Glad you passed this way.
Hey, you! Move along there! Hey!
Wowsingtons. Just one final thought here. One final thought. How beautiful is that? That had Paul, number one, he's named Paul, just like my unofficial brother, Paulie Shores. Had he not mentioned the greeter in Laguna Beach, I would have not gone down this rabbit hole and found this song about him. I mean, when I was out there with Dory, we saw this statue of this guy. He had red shirt, blue pants, big beard, long hair, and he's like pointing off. And back then I had Vine. Vine has discontinued. I did this Vine where I was pretending to ask him a question. You got 6 seconds. And so I put it on him and I'm like, excuse me, sir, can you give me directions? Which way is the sky? And then his reply was, oh, the sky? It's over there. And then I would move it from his face over up into the clouds. And that was the punchline, the punctuation. So now, here we go. I find out he was a real guy. Man, this stuff, I love it. I live for it. I love it. This is what life is all about. Make no mistake, folks. The most beautiful, extraordinary, exciting, enthusiastic, enlightening moments in life are free. They're all free. They're all free. So, keep that in mind.